So here we are in section 7.1. There's only going to be two different types of problems in 7.1. The first type is here, and what you're trying to find is the area under the standard normal curve. So this is what the standard normal curve looks like. These numbers down here are called z-scores, and they want you to find the area from a z-score of 2.11 out to forever. This in the middle is the mean, and that represents a z-score of 0. You don't really need to know that. And anything on this left side is going to have a z-score below 0, a negative number. So for all the questions, when they want you to find the area, it's not always going to be a picture in a shaded area, but it'll say area under the standard normal curve. Then you'll go to second vars again, like we did in section 6.2. But now instead of going down to any of the binomials, we're going to go to normal CDF. We're not ever going to use normal PDF. So if you want area, you want normal CDF. The lower limit is going to be whatever number is on your left or the smaller number that you're given. In a lot of these, you're only given one number because the other number is basically infinity in this case. So you want, this is your lower limit here, 2.11. And then your upper limit, which is infinity, meaning this shaded area technically goes on forever. There's not an infinity key in the keyboard, so what we use to represent that is second, and then it's the comma. So the symbol on the calculator itself is EE. Only one E is going to show up on here. That's correct. You only want it to show up like that. And then 99. And what that means is a 1 with 99 zeros after it. So it's a huge number, close enough to infinity for what we're doing. And for all of these in 7.1, you just leave these two alone. The mean is 0, and that's because of this number being 0. The standard deviation is 1, and that's because it's the standard normal curve. You don't really need to know why, just know that in 7.1, leave the mean and standard deviation alone, and enter again, and the direct output from that is your answer. The good thing about these versus the binomials that you just did, you don't have to worry about changing the number that you input. It's just the number that they give you. So this is the answer for part 1. Part 2, now we've got an area. This is what will later be called an area to the left. So if that's what you're given, then again, second vars, normal, CDF, and now your lower limit is basically negative infinity. So you put in negative, and it has to be this negative sign, not this minus sign here, or you'll get an error. And then the E99, so that represents negative infinity. And your upper limit now is this number. And if you remember, I said earlier, all the z-scores that are to the left side of the mean are going to be negative. Here's an example here. So again, with the negative sign and not the minus calculation number, 2.52. Keep these two the same, paste, and there's your answer. Now we've got area in between two numbers. This is actually the easiest situation because it's very obvious what you have to put in there. So you go to second vars, normal CDF, And now you've got your lower limit is of the two numbers that you're given, it's the lower number, 0.93. Your upper limit is the upper number that you're given, the higher number, 2.05. Leave these two the same, paste enter, and that's your answer. This one you have two areas. So if you wanted to, you could calculate this area and add it to this area, but there's an easier shortcut to do this. Since the area under this whole standard normal curve adds up to 1, and that's because that's just one of the properties of a standard normal curve, the easiest way to get the answer to this one is, instead of calculating the shaded area, we calculate the area we don't want, and then we subtract that from 1. So second bars, normal CDF, lower limit, again the smaller of the two numbers, upper limit, the larger of the two numbers. Keep these two the same, paste, and then just remember for this one is that when we get to the end, we have to do 1 minus this number, and that is our final answer after subtracting from 1. The next example is going to be similar to this, but without the pictures. It'll say area to the left, right, between.